Chapter 3, the real zero of a polynomial function. Zero of polynomial means when f of x equal to 0. So think of y equal to 0. When y is equal to 0, is the x-intercept. So the graph cross x-intercept. So let's look at our first theorem, factor theorem. A polynomial f of x has x minus a as a factor if and only if f of a equal to 0. Whenever you have if and only if, it means that when the first section true, then the second is true, or when the second is true, the first is also true. It's go both direction. So if x minus a is a factor, if you replace a with the x, you should get 0 for the polynomial. So let's look at our first example here. Our first example, x minus 2 is one of the factor. When it say one of the factor, means it's divided into this polynomial evenly or no remainder. So find the complete factor. So let's say my a here is 2. If I substitute 2 into f of x, alright, so I'm going to have f of 2 is equal to 3, 2 to the cube plus 2 times 2 square minus 19 times 2 plus 6. If you simplify this out, you should get 0, which you did, is equal to 0. It means x minus 2 divide into this polynomial evenly. Now I'm going to use syntactic because I can. Syntactic here is when you have the divisor is x minus a. However, if you cannot use syntactic, you must use the long division or other method, alright? But because I can use syntactic here, because the divisor is x minus a, I'm going to use syntactic. So my a here is 2. So let's use syntactic. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to drop the 3. Alright, you're going to drop the 3, you're going to multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. Combine these two, that is 8. Alright, then you're going to multiply 2 times 8, and it's going to go here. That is 16. 16 and negative 19 is negative 3. Alright, then you're going to multiply 2 to negative 3, which you're going to get negative 6. Negative 6 and 6 is 0. That's your remainder. This is your remainder. So it means that your remainder is 0. So let's look at the graph of this polynomial. Is degree 3, leading coefficient, which is odd. Leading coefficient is positive, which is 3. So it's going to behave is 4 on the left and rise to the right. Right? So degree 3 is going to have 2 turning points. 1, 2, maximum 3x intercept. It might not be 3, but maximum 3x intercept. So I have one already. So I have 3x to the cube plus 2x squared minus 19x plus 6, alright, is equal to, let me write, yes, fine, x minus 2. Alright, it's equal to x minus 2. And we know that if x minus 2 divide into this, it's go in evenly, no remainder. And this is the quotient. So it's going to be 3 from this one. And then degree 1 less than this one, which is square. X squared plus 8x minus 3. Alright, if you multiply this out, you should get that. Again, I know that this is one of the 0 is 2. This is degree 2. I have to factor that. So you can use quadratic equation, you can factor or use any method that you're comfortable. I'm going to factor here. So I have 3x squared. I'm going to put 3x here and x here. right? So I have 3 here. Let's try minus 1 plus 3. That's minus 3. So let's try this. Minus x plus 9x. So that is 8x. That work, right? So what it mean? I have three three terms here and multiply each other equal to 0 because we want to find the 0 of this. So if it's equal to 0, I'm going to set it equal to 0. So it's going to be x minus 2 equal to 0 or x equal to 2. That's 1, right? That x-intercept. Another one, it could be 3x minus 1 equal to 0. So 3x would be 1 or x would be 1/3. Alright. One more is x plus 3 equal to 0. So x would equal to negative 3. So I have 3 x-intercept here. Negative 3 could be here, 1/3, and then 2. Alright, let's look at more examples. Hi, let's look at our next example. I have this polynomial 2x to the cube plus 5x squared minus 4x minus 3, and they want you to find the 0, and they didn't give you any information. So we're gonna use the possible 0 PQ. Your P is the last number and your Q is the leading coefficient, which is the first number. So let's say your P is negative 3. Factor of negative 3 is plus or minus 1, plus and minus 3. Right? Your Q is 2. Factor of 2 is plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2. Now, all possible 0 of is the P over Q. So you're going to have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 3 over 2. So that is 8 possible 0. Not all of them will work because it's a degree 3. 3 of them should be the 0 here. So I'm gonna try 1 because I know it works. You can try anything. If it doesn't work, if 1 doesn't work, try negative 1. Negative 1 doesn't work, try something else. I'm gonna try 1, use synthetic, and it's work. How do I know it's work? Because the remainder is 0. So I know that it's work. So the polynomial will have a factor of x minus 1 because my a is 1 here and it worked. And the other polynomial will be 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 right here. And then we will factor this and then set each one of them equal to 0 to solve for x. So my x is 1, negative 3, and negative 1/2, which that is 3x intercept and degree 3. Right? Let's look at the next theorem. This theorem is called conjugate pair theorem. It said that if a plus bi is 0 of the polynomial, then its conjugate a minus bi is also 0 of the polynomial. Let's look at our next example. It's going reverse. They tell you that they want you to find a polynomial. This one, they give you the polynomial and ask you to find the 0. This one, they want you to find the polynomial and given the degree, leading coefficient, and sum of the 0. Alright? So degree 4. Degree 4 is even, you know, it's going to look something like rise both sides, and you're going to have 4 x-intercept maximum and 3 turning point. So from the information they give it to you, we're going to have f of x, oh, they call p. P of x is going to equal, now leading coefficient is 2, so you're going to have 2, alright, times x minus 5 minus I. Alright, think of, let's see if 1 is the 0, you're going to have x minus 1. If negative 3 is 0, you're going to have x minus 3. Alright, so that's 1. If 5 minus I is the 0, the conjugate is also the 0. So it's going to be time x minus 5 plus I. Alright, if 5 minus I is in there, 5 plus I will be in there. So I'm going to have x minus this and x minus that. And then I'm going to have x minus 3I. Alright, think of 3I as 0 plus 3I. That's the same thing. The next one, since 3I is there, x minus 3I, which is x plus 3I, also going to be in there. Alright, so I have 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 time leading coefficient. Now to solve this, you have to throw it out, and it's time consuming. I don't have room and space, so multiply everything out, distributive everything. Alright, so if you do that, the answer should be 2x to the 4th minus 20x squared plus 70x squared minus 180x plus 468. Alright, let's see the next section.